Welcome back to Digital Humanities 520. This is Dr. Kenny. Today we're going to look a little bit at how the course is going to work. So if you go into content over here under the Blackboard course listing, you're going to notice that there's a couple things that are very important. Number one, under the welcome, you will see check your syllabus, which is left of the menu. So here it is right up here. Also, you're going to notice that you need to purchase the Adobe Creative Suite during the duration of this course. You're going to be using 3 different programs in Adobe Creative Suite. And you'll notice that there's student pricing. And so you have to go in there and purchase the student pricing. Now, it is available for both Mac and PC. I generally, specifically use a MacBook Pro, because it's got a bigger graphics card and it has a lot of RAM and it works really well for this kind of application. If you don't have a Mac, I do suggest that if you're using a PC that you close down your other programs while you're working, because it will make your computer run much faster. You'll also notice that there is what we have up here in the corner on the top of my dock on my Mac is an Adobe icon. The Adobe icon is your Creative Cloud suite, and there you can see the different programs that you would have available. So here's some that are in the plan, and then there's also the ones that we're going to be working with, and that's going to be Photoshop, Illustrator. We may look a little bit at Acrobat, and then we're going to look at InDesign. And we're going to go to the latest version. So this is 17.0.1. You might notice that I have another version of InDesign on here. That's just because I may have done some work and had some plugins that weren't available yet for 17.01. So, but you will be using the 17.0.1. Okay, so let me close that out. The other thing that I want to talk about is your help resources. There's a tech support team and so on that might help you. Virtual meeting requests. If you need to talk to me, you can definitely text me and do a virtual meeting request and we can get together. So let's go and start with Unit 1. So the way that you get into these units is you just click on the unit, and there it takes us to Unit 1. So our hope for Unit 1 is that you'll be able to better understand the use of specific software, have a good understanding of typography and the ethics of typography, and also understand the importance of infographics. One of the things I can tell you about infographics is that if you take written material like this, which is just plain text, and then next to it have an infographic, the infographic, normally people will retain about 80% versus 20% of what they've read online. So that's kind of a big number difference. And so infographics are a great way to talk about your research. Also, you'll see that there's introductions for each thing. And here we have our pray and chat and say hello. So this is a place where you can introduce yourself to me and to the rest of the class and create a thread and so forth. And there's also a very good video on the CUWAA Blackboard discussion chat. So go ahead and watch that video before you build your own. So the first place I want to go to is the Unit 1 videos. And so let's take a look here. Notice that there's some videos here that we're asking you to watch first. So let's jump in there and take a look. So for beginning graphic design, here's some fundamentals just about how graphics work and the differences between Illustrator and Photoshop. And I think it's very important for you right from the get-go to have a good understanding of them. Notice that they're very short. They're 6 minutes and 26 seconds. The next one is 5 minutes and 15 seconds. And they're here for you to watch more than once if you care to. So one is about fundamentals and the other is layout and composition. So, you know, a little bit about just thinking about where you're putting things, why you're putting things in certain places, what the colors are, and so on. Let's go back. The next one is to how to build your introduction video. Definitely you want to take a look at that. 5 best free video editing softwares. And here's another with screen recorders, no watermarks or time limits. So basically, how do I make a video? And if you don't know how to do it, or you don't want to do it on your phone, you want to use your computer, here's some good suggestions. The next area that we were going to talk about is color. So one of the things that we've come to find out is that color is incredibly important when you talk about design. So there's a few videos here that talk about color and how to use color, contrast, and also, you know, how does different color, how they affect your consumer. So this is an important area for you to think about before you even get started in making your graphics, is what color are you going to use? And what most of the time students do is they pick their favorite color, and that might not always be the best solution. So like if your favorite color is red and it elicits, you know, feelings of anger and frustration, it might not necessarily be the best color for what you're trying to get across. So these are very, very good. They're very short. Take some time, grab a sandwich, and just sit down and listen to them. I highly, highly recommend you go through these first. Okay, the next piece that we're going to talk about is typography. And so typography, again, is really important. The type that you use, the beginning, you know, introduction of, you know, what you have in the beginning of your image, all of those things matter, and they send a message. And so certain type is going to look good in one area and not necessarily good in another. And so these are some very good, and some of these are a little bit longer. The Ultimate Guide to Typography is an actual course that's very much like the Adobe courses. It's 40 minutes. I definitely encourage you to watch through all of these videos. So really take your time and try to get through all of these. So one day you might be doing, you know, and these are all going to be just to kind of set the course up. So, you know, I can't encourage you enough to take the time to watch these before you begin your designs. And then infographics. What are infographics? So this is, again, you know, that same sort of situation, like what are infographics? Here's some templates that are downloadable from different programs. What is the right color scheme again? So now we're talking about color again. What is the hierarchy, the best way to understand graphic design? 13 different types of infographics and how to use them, and then 11 visual hierarchy design principles. So how do you get people to really understand what it is you're trying to say? And that's what infographics are about. Infographics are not emojis, but they're visual elements that are coupled with text that create an association for the viewer. And so how you put them together, how you design them is incredibly important. Now, you know, are we going to have a full-on design course? No, but just for this very first section, this is where I'm hoping that there's some design elements and principles that are going to stick with you and that you're going to be able to use as you move forward. Okay, so that gets us through all of the videos. So there's these sections right here, and let's go back over to the next section, which are readings. So in the readings area, this is some things about, you know, the importance of typography. And these are some very, very good articles from the Digital Humanities Quarterly about best practices in teaching typographic principles to digital humanity audiences and why they're important. So definitely you want to read through that. The next is about infographics. And again, what infographics convey, how they convey it. It's visual information, you know, why it matters when you see this type of information. And you can see that in this particular infographic, it's very, you know, carefully structured to be able to like align you up color-wise with each of the areas, what the recruitment pressure for campus sororities are. Okay, here's another infographics of the world's tallest mountains. Dissecting the parts, like, well, how does each piece work? Here's a pie chart infographic, dissecting the parts. 3 main parts to an infographic. What do we have? We have visual, which is the color, graphics, images, and icons, which hopefully you've gone through all of those videos ahead of time. The content, which is the data, sequential process, or statistics, or more. And then the conclusion, summary of what all of it means to the reader. So all of those things should be included in your infographic. how to dissect the parts. So again, very useful information. Take a close read of this article. And last, but graphics for infographics. So what are the popular graphics that you use? How do they work? And it's a very, very good article on, kind of just overview of the power of vision and the power of visual information, and why it's so important to be able to use this kind of information to talk about your research. Okay, so that's it for your readings area. And let's go back to Unit 1. And then last but not least are your assignment drop boxes. The lecture that you're listening to right now obviously would be in lectures U1. And here we have in video introduction to how to use infographics. Sorry about that. That's where your video introduction will go. And over here we have the discussion, and that about sums it up for our first unit.